What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and this is Regular Guy Training. So, first and foremost, I get a lot of questions on, when's the next class coming up and all that stuff, because I mentioned it towards the end, and it's usually kind of a furball of information there. The next classes that are on the schedule are for June, and that is Pistol 1 and 2 in Lexington, Kentucky at Bud's. So we'll be there for 4 straight days. You can check out the link in the description below for all available classes and stuff. But yeah, it's 4 days straight of us doing what we got to do in there. It should be a really good time. So before I plug the rest of the classes, I'm just going to go ahead and get into the subject matter here. Now, I get a lot of questions, not just on the review for the SAM 7, but other videos that you guys have seen this before. How well does this hold up on an AK, or how well does it hold up on a rifle in general? So I get a lot of questions about it, and I'm going to tell you what. If it's a plinker, if it's a fair weather warrior, this thing is fantastic. It's small, the optic body is very much out of the way, but there are a bunch of problems with it that I figured out over time, and I figured I'd go ahead and share them with you, and then kind of give you guys my final little prognosis on the whole thing. So let's go ahead and put this on the table and see what we're talking about. Alright, so let's talk about this for a little bit. Now, this guy, right, as you can see, I have not been nice to this guy at all. It's been into a few scrapes. You can see all the clay and stuff on it because it rains all the fucking time here in Tennessee. But here's the deal, right? Keep in mind that all of the things that I have against this optic have nothing to do with its hardiness. I've had no issues as far as chasing zero, none of that. But there have been a couple of issues that I've had that actually break this entire thing for me. Now, some of you may or may have not noticed that when it comes to like an Aimpoint T2 or a T1 or an Aimpoint Pro or Comp M4, Trijicon MRO, the various fake point dots that are out there, EOTechs, that kind of stuff. There's a little bit of shrouding going on as far as just a little housing that overlooks the optic body itself. As you can see on this particular optic, right, unless it's on the inside here, it doesn't have very much of that at all. Now, what does that really mean? Well, for me and for what I've noticed, and you may even be able to see it as far as stuff that has gotten in there, everything gets on this piece of glass. Most notably, rain. Now, normally, when it rains, I don't really care as far as my optics and stuff are concerned. But the thing is that in the time that I've had this optic on the rifle, rain is a big deal. Because once you start getting water droplets on the outside, you'll eventually get them on the inside. Now, that's not that big of a deal, except for the fact that it splatters really good and it makes really fine droplets throughout the pane of glass that's on here. Once you start mixing in any other elements like clay or any of that, it has this really muddy looking haze on the inside, no matter how much you try to get your fingers on there on the inside. And to be perfectly honest, even without that, just water, it gets a really good haze going on the inside of the optic as far as the glass is concerned. Not like the internal workings of the glass, but on the glass itself. This becomes a problem, most notably because of the fact that there's already a tint on the glass itself, and with that essentially like rain spatter that's all over the glass, it makes it honestly nearly impossible to get a good clear picture of the target area and to put a dot on it, confidently at greater distances. And even if I'm trying to take a really precise brain box shot at like 50 yards or something on a USPSA piece of cardboard. That cobbled together with the fact that even if it's dry and you got a really good sunny day out, the problem is that you can tell really fast that this is an emitter type optic versus a colluminator, because the sunlight will glare off of the body itself and off of the glass, creating a light red square on top of your red dot, which makes it like a 25 minute of angle square that you're shooting with, and that makes it a little bit more difficult. So it's one of those things where it's like, unless the conditions are perfect and unless the angles are good, something is interfering with the dot on the target itself. Now, this isn't to say that this optic does well under most circumstances. In fact, I mean, like, as you guys saw, you know, the thing is fairly beat up. It's got a little bit of its own mileage on it, and like I said, I would be absolutely trashing this optic right now if I was running into issues as far as zero loss and everything else. But the problem is that unless you're planning on shooting indoors almost exclusively with it, and there is an application for that for sure, especially for like the PDW style ARs or submachine guns, that kind of thing, this thing isn't really that great. I mean, even the fake points that are out there from like Primary Arms and Hollow Sun and stuff like that, they do better as far as dealing with all conditions than just the day-to-day life with it. As far as being able to see clearly on target and everything else, even if this optic has the capability of outclassing stuff like Primary Arms and Hollow Sun, in the endurance department, in the ability to take punishment department. So what's funny is that, you know, as far as carrying it concealed and that kind of thing, the optic made for rifles does worse on a rifle in all conditions than a pistol, because if you're carrying concealed especially, you're hiding it from all of those foreign elements, and it makes life much easier with it. So it's one of those deals where I gotta be 110% honest and say, if you were thinking about mounting this on a rifle, or if you already have, maybe you noticed some of the stuff that I have, or maybe you haven't taken it out in the rain or something like that, and you haven't noticed the fact that the second it rains, holy crap, it starts getting really difficult. Close up, I'm not even really using holdovers anymore. I'm just kind of using the television screen to center up on what it is that I'm trying to shoot at, and just kind of press away on that. So that's the thing with me, is that for the individual uses that I'm looking for here, this isn't it for me. Now, end of the day, what's going to be a problem for me may not be a problem with you. So this is just my individual experience, and it's something that I've noticed that you may not have, or you've noticed yourself and have just kind of like, I'll make it work, because dudes tend to just do that, right? So, my opinion, I'm going to go to a microdot of a more traditional type variety and stick it on that SAM-7, because a rifle is far too awesome to not have some kind of optic on it. For review purposes, like if this was you know, I'm setting this up, I'm not changing it, I'm doing what I got to do, I'm going to stick a T2 on that and be done with it. But for review purposes, I'm probably going to go to Primary Arms and stick one of their fake points on there, just to see how it does. You guys know how I do. I mean, you guys know how it is that I test. And when I mount a piece of equipment on a gun, those tests take a while, so, you know, you'll see a review on that here eventually. But with that being said, guys, what do you think? Have you seen some of the stuff that I've seen? Have you just not, and it just kind of, you know, blew your mind at the sight of that? Have you not seen any of it and taken it through even worse than I have? Let me know, because I like data and stuff like that. And specify whether or not it was a Type 1 or a Type 2 RMR. I'm actually curious to see if those issues translate to the Type 2, because that is a Type 1 RMR. So, that being said, guys, if you want to come out and train with us, like I said before, the classes that are most recent and that are coming up are in June. That's in Lexington, Kentucky with Buds. We're going to do Pistol 1 and 2. It's going to be a hoot, especially after we get a little bit of time. We can start flipping the lights on and off at will, which is great. We did a lot of that with our indoor rifle class that's coming up. I would say that I have an indoor rifle class coming up with that, but that's sold out today. So there's that. Moving forward from that, we're looking at September. September is loaded with stuff, because we have a shotgun class which still has a couple of slots left for it. We're going to Maine for Pistol 1 and 2, which still has slots available for it. We are going to, Montana for Rifle 1 and 2. So you got Maine for Pistol 1 and 2 and Montana for Rifle 1 and 2. And again, slots are open for both of those. And then we are going back to Kentucky for a low, no light pistol only. And that's sold out as well. I'm working on an August rifle class, and that's going to be a Rifle 1 and 2 also. I'm going to give you guys a heads up on that, because I know that, you know, the more time ticks and the more time that I waste, the less time that you guys have to register and that kind of deal. So it is what it is. Right now, it's basically a first come first serve between Del Rio, Texas, and Arkansas. So I'll let you guys know what's going on with that. If you guys want to train for us for even less than what we currently have going on, oh, by the way, from this video forward, all new specify new classes that I put on the website are $250 a class versus $200. I'm going to be honest with you, we know for a fact that our curriculum is worth far more than $200 per class. Anyone who's taken a class from us will testify to that fact immediately. Matter of fact, anyone who's taken a class from us in the past, go ahead and comment that in the box below. Additionally, you guys already know, I had a baby that came and that kind of thing, and I would be able to hold this off for a little bit longer. So there's that. And to quote a tip from a friend of mine who's in the industry, it's one of those things where it's like, our prices are so low they're suspicious. Like, they're tourist low. You see what I'm saying? And nobody wants to buy the really low end stuff because it's suspicious. Nobody wants to buy the really expensive stuff because, you know, it's prohibitive. Everybody buys Glock. You see what I'm saying? So if it's worth it and if the quality is where it should be, the prices should match. Now, I'm not going to go up to $350, which over the years it will go up 50 bucks a year until we eventually stop at $350, right? I'm going to go at an incremental pace because guys budget for this kind of stuff, and I don't want to just smack them with an extra $150. So it's going up. Oh man, that boyo in Del Rio is talking about me as he's watching this. But here's the thing: is that they do have to go up, but I'm not going to bring them up at a ridiculous pace. So it's up 50 bucks. If there was a class already posted that was $200 before, I'm not going to magically raise the prices. I'm not that person. So the only other spot that we have to fill up until actually through September is one slot of classes in August. So that's how that's going to go as far as this year is concerned. And then post that, we're going to start scheduling classes for October and so on. So be on the lookout for that. If you want to train with us cheaper, these changes are not affecting the $35 a month Patreon guys. So now there's even more of an incentive to do that. Because for less than the price of 2 classes a year, which is $35 a month, you can train with us for as long as you're on that program. So get on that if you choose to do so. If you choose not to, you can just, you know, throw in a nickel at us here and there. It is what it is at this point. You know, it's a voluntary thing. I'm not demanding anything from anybody. So there you go. Also, be sure to check us out at Full 30 or BitChute. I publish new videos on both of those sites as well as this. And I would highly suggest that instead of watching us on YouTube, just kind of giving those guys a big old middle finger and watching us on one of those other 2 outlets. So, if not, and you want to just, you know, chat with us and ask questions, you can go to Facebook. I have a link for that, and for that little chat page in the description below, as well as all the other links that are relevant for this. And remember, guys, a regular guy's firearm is the last defense against tyranny. Be easy.